Hey, what's up everybody? Cynical Manor here, and today I'm going to be showing you some things on the F-18 for new pilots, basically. How to basically get in contact with ground crew, with the tower, how to request taxi to the runway, how to know which runway is active, showing you how to basically navigate in a airport situation so you know how to get to the runway, the best routes and everything like that, and also some navigation, going over TACAN, waypoints, things like that. So we'll go ahead and get started now. Basically, all I've done is I started the aircraft. We're in a dust situation here in the Persian Gulf. We're at the Al-Dahar airfield, and a few things that we'll go over just to kind of familiarize you with the aircraft. There's one thing, we've already gone through our FCS page. Everything's cleared. We have no problems. We have nothing over here showing us. There's nothing on the on our caution screen here. So since it's getting dusk, we'll go down here to where it says console. This is our console lights, then our instrument lights. Now that's all I use in the aircraft. If you want to use more, you have floodlights that you can turn on. You also have where are they at? Chart lights that you can turn on as well. But I find when I'm flying at low light conditions, or I'm flying at night, that can get in the way. Kind of distorts my vision where I can't really see the instruments that I need to see. So the first thing we're going to do before we take off, we've already set our altitude indicator to 500 feet, and I show you that in my startup video. We're going to go over here. We've got 10,710 pounds of fuel. For a new flyer, I would do half of whatever your main fuel is in your bingo. So this is your bingo here, up and down. We're going to go ahead and set that to 5,000. And then once we're flying around, we reach 5,000, we can set it for half of that, 2,500, 2,000 pounds, whatever it might need to be. Just so you know how much fuel you got to get home. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to go over radios. Okay, so radios, you have two in the F-18. You have radio 1 and radio 2. They're both set to 305. That's the default setting in the aircraft. Now what we'll do is, we're at Al-Dahar, so we'll go to our F10 map. We'll go over here to Al-Dahar, and we'll look. ATC 126.5, that's going to be the ground. 251.1, that's going to be your tower control. So what we'll do is we'll go back to the aircraft. What did we say that was? We said ground was what? 126.5. So we'll go ahead and set up that in COM 1. So we'll go 126.500. Enter. And now if we pull up our communications menu by hitting backslash, we'll go to ATC. This says main is 251.1.
In field 1-1. Request startup. Enfield 1-1. Cleared for startup. Wind 180 at 2 meters per second.
But you see that's not correct. Because if we go, I've got it on easy radios, so it automatically adjusts. But if we look at both radios, we're talking on 126.500. Because we're talking to the ground. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to say request taxi to runway.
In field 1-1. Request taxi to runway.
Okay, so up here in the left-hand corner, cleared to taxi to 13 Lima, 13 left. Okay, so we'll go back to our F10 menu. And let's see, where's 13 left? That's right. And 13 left is going to be right here. So the best way to do this, we are sitting right here. We're going to take a left, then a right. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We're going to take a left, and then go all the way down and curve around and be on the runway. Okay? So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll set that. This little triangle here, or arrow, whatever you want to say it is, will keep your plane, will keep you centered on your plane in the F10 map. Okay? So we'll go ahead and turn on our taxi landing light, and we'll release our brake and start taxiing. We said we're going to take a left and a left. I think that's what we said. Yep, left and left. Alright, so as you're taxiing to the runway, you don't want to go any faster than a good jogging speed. You see up here in the on your HUD, you've got 48 in there. 48 is the speed at which the aircraft starts to recognize ground control, or speed, not ground control, but speed. So you never want to get to 48 while you're taxiing, or above that. So we'll never see this register as we're taxiing. So while we're fiddling around going towards our runway here, we'll go ahead and set up on this left side, our left MFD. We'll go ahead and go to support page, HSI. I have a HSI down here, but it's easier if you put it up on one of these left or right MFDs as a new pilot to kind of understand what's going on. So what we'll do is we'll go to waypoint navigation, and we'll select waypoint 1. What that'll do is if you put that in the sequence mode, you see how our navigation's set up. That'll go 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to however many waypoints you have set up. What I've got is I've got just a loop coming back around to the airport and to land. So once we get in the air, I'll show you how to basically set up TACAN. I'll show you some of the autopilot features and some other things. So while we're taxiing here, we'll go ahead and show you. I've got everything set on night. This is your well, we'll back up a little bit. If you go up here to your MFDs, you see on both sides you have a off, night, and day. We switch that to day. Yeah, we can kind of see it. It's still pretty bright, but it's getting dusk, or it is dusk. It's going to be night soon. So we're going to leave that on night, because once it gets dark, that'll be very bright. And the same thing with this middle switch here. That's our HUD. See how bright and it's just too bright. It's like glistening almost. That's just a little too much, so we keep that on night so it's easier for us to see. I think we're in the loop here. Yep, we're in the loop. We're not too far away from the runway. Going back to your radios, here are your volumes for your radios. That's radio 1, radio 2. And you can adjust those accordingly. They're already on when you get in the aircraft, even though the aircraft's off. The volume's already preset for you. So, alright, so we're rolling up on the runway here. Should be a line, and there it is. It's right there. I don't know if you can see it. That's your hold position line. We'll get up here and we'll stop. Right here before we get to the line. So we've stopped. We're going to check. Nothing coming from the left. Nothing coming from the right. You're going to hold your brakes while you're doing this because you don't want to accidentally go out onto the runway. Then we're going to call request a takeoff.
In field 1-1, request takeoff.
We did taxi to the right runway, 13 left, yeah.
In field 1-1, request takeoff.
Alright, so let's see if we got to the right runway. I make mistakes too, so. If you don't know what your last briefing message was, you can go to message history by hitting escape. And it said, clear to taxi to runway 13 left. Okay, we'll close that. And go back to briefing, just hit fly. So we are 13 left. Why they're not giving us clearance, I don't know. So we'll go ahead and ease up, get on the apron here, or on the runway. Maybe they'll realize we're out here. See, 13. There we go.
Unable to clear for takeoff.
Why?
Enfield 1-1, you are cleared for takeoff when ready. Climb 300 at QFE 29.87.
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and apply power. Put our flaps at half. Got a little bit of crosswind. 30 knots, and we're lifting up. Gear up, flaps up. Come off those burners. Alright, so if you're ever in a low light situation, you can't see what you're doing, you can hit left alt and F. Oh, I'm hitting F. Ah, left alt and L. Alright, now we got a flashlight. So if we can't see something, hey, there it is over here, whatever. And I didn't equip the aircraft with the night vision. Why? I don't know. But this will help you see around the aircraft at night. And just left off an L to turn that back off. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here. We're going to hit our autopilot feature. We're going to go B Alt. That's going to stabilize us. Now we're up in the barometric altitude. That's going to keep us at a level flight wherever we hit the button at. So apparently we hit it at 4620-ish. So we should level out at 4620, 4,620 feet. Alright, so if we want to go on our waypoint, we've got it sequenced over here. If we want the aircraft to fly it for us, we'll hit the CPL button. And you'll see the aircraft turn. And what it's doing is it's going to waypoint 1. If you didn't want to go to waypoint 1, say you wanted to go to waypoint 3. Go over here and go to 3. And you'll see the aircraft turn. Now it's still turning because it's... Let's go to waypoint, I don't know, 5. See, it's skipping waypoints. It's trying to get on 3. We'll go to 5. If you didn't want to use the autopilot feature, and you wanted to fly that yourself, we'll take the autopilot off, and we'll say we want to go back to waypoint 4. Okay? Actually, we'll go back to waypoint 2. That way we know. Alright, so what we'll do is, you see this little line here? Turn towards it. We're going to put that in the caret there. So we're going to turn towards that line, and this is our caret. Once that's lined up with the caret, we're heading towards our waypoint. All those city lights out there. We're coming around to waypoint 3. And
Altitude.
what's just happened
Altitude.
there? We had something going on. Oh, autopilot. I turned autopilot off. Why is it saying autopilot? Anyway, that caused us to miss our caret. So we'll come back around to the left. And you see it moving over, so you want to kind of move with it so it's not just way out there. Move a little bit too much. Alright. And now we're heading towards waypoint 3. See how that's in the caret now? Now say we wanted to designate waypoint 5 as a target. Put this on that. Alright, so we wanted to go to waypoint, we'll go to WPDSG, weapon designate. Click that, we'll go to, crap. Hang on. Sorry. Say we wanted to do waypoint 5, weapon designate, and that's designated as our target. I don't think it shows on here. But it does show you, like, okay, you see us, we've already passed waypoint 3. But you see here, as I click waypoints, it shows you a dot where the waypoint is. 5, 6, 7, and I've got 8 as the landing point. Okay? So say at this point, we don't want to use waypoints. We'll turn the waypoints off. We'll turn the sequence off. And say we know that we have a ship we're going to land on, a carrier. And I know that George Washington's out there in the Persian Gulf waiting on us if we want to land there. So what we'll do is we'll go over here to TACAN. We'll turn that on, on button, clear it out, and in our briefing menu, go to briefing here. If you've added the briefing information in, if you're on a multiplayer server, it should already be in there for you. And I didn't add it in. That's okay, because I know it's 75 X-ray. So we'll type in 75, enter. And now you see this little triangle looking deal here is our waypoint. Now we can hit the TACAN button and box that. Now we can go back over to our autopilot and go autopilot, barometric altitude, and CPL. That'll turn us right to the ship. Now when you're using TACAN, it's not going to put you, like, if you wanted to go back to the runway, it's not going to put you right over the runway as lining you up like a ILS. There is an ILS system in this jet that you can use, and all the information is pretty much like TACAN. Go to the ILS, you'll type in your information and select channel, and it'll line you up for the ILS. But TACAN is not going to put you lined up like ILS will. TACAN will put you in a direction towards the TACAN beacon. So you probably end up flying over the side of the, or like in the middle of the runway from the left or the right. It's not going to line up. It's just a way to track where you're going, but you'll still have to do a visual approach, if that makes sense. Let's see where we're at in relation to the runway. Alright, so there's the runway here that we took off from. We're way over here. The George Washington is out here. And I generally set up, when I set up my missions, I set up whatever the carrier's CVN number is, like this one's 75. That's what I set up my TACAN to, just so it's easy to find. Alright, so we're out here flying. Say we want to go back to Abu Dhabi Airport. So we'll click on the airport. We'll look over here on the TACAN. And that's not correct. That's not correct. I'm sorry. I told you the wrong airport. Al Dhafar. I knew that didn't sound right. So Al Dhafar is in a TACAN. Not all airports have TACANs, by the way, as you saw with the other one. We'll click on Al Dhafar. That'll bring up information where we got our ATC information earlier. And you can look at the TACAN. The TACAN is 96 X-ray. Okay. So if we wanted to go back to land, go back to TACAN, we'll clear that out, and we'll go 96, enter. And because we're already on autopilot, as soon as we click that in, we've got CPL boxed here. That'll take us right to, it'll start us on a course back to the airport. Okay? So now we are lined up with the TACAN station at the airport. You can see, here it is right here. We'll go out to, we'll hit this middle, what's this, MDI PB8. We'll hit that. It's 20 miles, 10 miles. Usually when I'm landing, I usually put it in a 10-mile situation. That way I know, see there's an airport off to our left here. We look on our F10 map and we're like, ooh, I need to land, I'm really low on fuel or something like that. That's Al Batin. And that one does not have a TACAN code. That's okay, but we're not landing there. We've got plenty of fuel. Just demonstrating for purposes that if you had an emergency. Okay. So we'll go ahead and set the jet up a little bit for our landing. We'll go ahead and turn our landing lights on. Now, like I was saying, this is our runway here. This is where we took off. As the jet's flying, it's in the TACAN mode, just like I said. We're not lined up with the runways. We're coming across them sideways. So we need to be on, where was it? Right here. And we're coming in over here. So that's not going to work to land. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and turn off our autopilot. Go ahead and call ATC and say we're inbound.
Enfield 1-1 inbound. Enfield 1-1. Fly heading 314. Fort 13. QFE 29.87. Runway 13 to pattern altitude.
Alright. So we're gonna, they've told us to fly 310, or excuse me, 314.
Enfield 1-1. Cleared for visual, contact tower.
And it is dark, dark, dark. So this is where we rely on our navigation information so we don't crash. So still coming around to heading 314. Show you on the map here. Where are we at? We're way over here on the left. What we're going to do is we're going to loop around and be lined up with the runway. Oh, and we overshot 314. That's quite all right. So we've got the runway in sight over there. We can't just flip around and land. We've got to do this tactfully. So we'll reduce power. Start descending. Just going to keep a visual eye. This is a visual landing. An eye on your runway there. As we get lined up with the runway, we will call ATC again and tell them that we're requesting our landing. I'm going to go ahead and go back to idle. I see our runway over there. We're going to bleed some speed throughout the old air brake just to drop some speed here. Pull that back in about 350. As we do our turn, we'll bleed off. At 350 we can drop our gear and flaps. All will be right with the world. Alright, so we're coming in. Still at idle. We've got two runways at this airport. We're landing on 13 left. It's the same runway that we took off from. So there's 236. We'll go ahead and drop our landing gear, put the first notch of flaps in, and go ahead and put the second notch in. Continue to come down. We're still a little fast, our brackets coming down. Give her a little power because we don't want to stall her out. inching our way over to the airport. Now, I'm used to landing, so I kind of cut this off a little bit. Technically, should you have gone out farther and then turned back in? Yes. But I've landed this aircraft so many times, I've probably got 300 hours in this jet. Which kind of hurt my feelings the other day. I was messing around with my logbook on here and accidentally changed it to where my deaths count, and I was training for something. I forgot what it was. It was a different aircraft. I think it was a Mirage. And it reset my logbook and it killed me, man, because it took all my hours and everything away. I got a little updraft there. So I had to restart my logbook. Alright, so we're going to decrease the power. We've got our pipper, not our pipper, but our flight azimuth right over the runway. Come down on the power. I'm not pulling on the stick. I'm just working the throttle. When we're slow, we give her a little throttle. Just minute increments. So as we're coming into the runway, we're going to go ahead and call ATC again.
Infield 1-1, request landing. Infield 1-1, clear to land, runway 13, wind 180 at 2 meters per second.
And as you can see on our angle of attack, here on the left, right here, we're on the ball. At 141 knots. Wherever you put that flight azimuth, got a little fast there. Wherever you put that flight azimuth on the runway, that's where you'll be landing. And we got a little off there. I'm coming in. Look to the left. A nice straight run. And we're down. And we'll go ahead and put our spoiler out. A little bit of crosswind to the right, or excuse me, to the left. Little left rudder. And we'll apply brakes. Go ahead and retract that speed brake. So once we get slowed down here,
Enfield 1-1, taxi to parking area.
they'll tell us to taxi to the parking area. So as you see that yellow sign, this is G. And you can see the yellow line coming off here. We'll follow that around. You want to take your closest taxiway to get off the runway for the next aircraft approaching. And once we get past that marker there, that stop marker, we'll go ahead and clean up the aircraft. So we'll flaps up, and that's really all we have to clean up. We still need our taxi light. Anyway, that shows you a little bit about the aircraft, a little bit of how to navigation, and hopefully that's helpful for you. If you have any questions that I can answer, please like and subscribe. Do ask questions. I'll be glad to answer them best I can. And hope that was helpful to someone. Let me know, and we'll see you next time.